Namibian President Hage Geingob is in South Africa on a state visit for the first time since his election in 2015. Now, the two statesmen are expected to discuss bolstering already strong ties, with both countries being signatories of the African Continental Free Trade Area. But both Presidents Cyril, Ramaphosa and Geingob have recently been in the spotlight in their respective countries over the Phala Phala farm scandal. Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo is at the Union buildings this morning to give us some insight. A very good morning to you, Ziyanda. One cannot imagine the presidents meeting without the Phala Phala cloud hanging over their heads. Let's talk about some expectations this morning as this visit gets underway.
Absolutely. So we know that there's going to be the pomp and ceremony and, of course, the signing of some kind of agreements between the two countries. But as you've mentioned, that issue of the Phala Phala farm scandal hanging over the two presidents' heads is going to be the white elephant in the room, inevitably. Of course, the Namibian President Hage Geingob are coming under fire from the media in his country for him allegedly using authorities, the police there, to assist the South African authorities within dealing with the suspects related to the Phala Phala farm scandal. That's just one of the issues that we expect to come up here today. But of course, the two countries, when it comes to the bilateral relations economically, Namibia is more dependent on South Africa than South Africa and Namibia. I think they export about a third of what we export to that country. And you'll know the history between Namibia and South Africa. Namibia being, colonized by the apartheid government and only gaining independence in 1990. So since then, the foreign policies of the two countries have changed and morphed themselves. I mean, at some stage, Namibia tried to have its own, kind of foreign policy, which would see it separate or have asserted sovereignty and try not to be so codependent on South Africa. But generally, because of the fact that they're both in the SADC region, and there's been a lot of work within the SADC body to try and consolidate, trade. For an example, Namibia and South Africa are both signatories for that African Continental Free Trade Area agreement. It's expected that they'll be signing more agreements and consolidating their ties even further.
So in terms of the grand opening and the preparations that are underway behind you there, what is expected as the two counterparts walk around there and come and meet those who are in attendance?
I mean, it's pretty much what we've been seeing with most of these state visits, and you would have noticed that there have been quite a lot of state visits this year coming from the departments with the presidency, Department of International Relations and Cooperation and the presidency. But just to show you what the setup is like right now, you'll also see as well the red carpet. The two statesmen will be walking from at the top and making their way down here. And of course, there will be that display of the South African Army, and a gun salute is expected. So, Paul, when it comes to those proceedings, we're expecting it to be pretty much the same as all the other state visits that we've seen from Tanzania, Belgium, and the sorts.
Very well, Ziyanda Ngcobo. Let's leave it there for now, of course, giving us a rundown on some of the expectations as Namibian President Hage Geingob is in South Africa on a state visit to meet his counterpart, President Cyril Ramaphosa. We will continue to take you there throughout the course of this morning.